Did you know that 92% of people do not achieve the goals they set for themselves? As Seneca said, there is no favorable wind for the sailor who does not know where to go. But before we dive into the depths of this truth, like this video and subscribe to the channel. What you are about to discover may change your perspective on what it really means to be successful. There was a voice echoing on the radio waves a few decades ago, a voice that stood out amidst the daily noise with an almost prophetic clarity. It was the voice of Earl Nightingale, a thinker who did not sell illusions of quick enrichment or magic formulas for success. Instead, he distilled an ancestral, almost alchemical wisdom about the essence of human fulfillment. Nightingale understood, perhaps before many, that the frantic search for external achievements, the accumulation of material goods, the incessant pursuit of social status, the insatiable thirst for public recognition was just a pale shadow, a distant echo of a much deeper and crucial inner game. He reminded us with his calm and assertive voice that we invariably become what we nurture in our thoughts, what we cultivate in our mental garden most of the time. But the most radical implication of this idea transcends the mere manifestation of tangible results. It resides in the profound metamorphosis that inevitably occurs within us during this journey. The true treasure, the alchemical gold of life, is not found in the final destination, in the shiny trophy or the deafening applause of the crowd, but rather in the temper of the soul that is forged in the fire of the journey, in the trials and tribulations that mold us and transform us into more complete and resilient beings. Philosophically, this perspective resonates through the centuries, from the teachings of the Stoic philosophers, who advocated virtue as the only supreme and unshakable good, to the profound wisdom of Viktor Frankl, who found a transcendental meaning not in the absence of suffering, but in the courageous and resilient attitude we adopt in the face of it. Deep psychology, particularly the Jungian school, casts a strong warning about our shadow, those dark and neglected parts of our psyche that we stubbornly ignore in our obsessive search for the dazzling light of success. By focusing all our energies and efforts exclusively on having, on material accumulation and external validation, we run the serious risk of leaving our being, the deepest essence of our humanity, atrophied and underdeveloped. We build imposing and luxurious facades on fragile and unstable foundations, pursuing an ideal of success that on numerous occasions is imposed from the outside in, shaped by other people's expectations and social pressures, and not genuinely cultivated from the inside out, emanating from our most authentic values and purposes. The contemporary world, with its dizzying speed and its culture of instantaneity, amplifies this painful internal dissonance. We dive headfirst into the era of exacerbated performance, of the shiny digital showcase, where the carefully constructed image of dazzling success often masks a deep existential void, a lacerating loneliness, and a glaring lack of genuine purpose. We are relentlessly bombarded by seductive narratives of lightning achievements, of illusory shortcuts to complete happiness, of miraculous hacks for instant success, which distract us from the slow and, at times, painful, but infinitely rewarding construction of character, of the polishing of the soul, of the gradual and consistent development of our virtues and internal qualities. The deafening noise of unbridled competition surrounds us on all sides. Incessantly compare yourself with others, accumulate more material goods, be relentlessly more productive, optimize every fraction of a second of your existence. But this incessant and exhausting race to do more, to have more, to appear more, paradoxically leaves us exhausted, physically and emotionally depleted, and most seriously, increasingly distant from ourselves, alienated from our most authentic essence. Amidst this frenetic vortex, we forget a fundamental and non-negotiable truth. The intrinsic quality of our life is not determined by the quantity of our deeds, by the size of our possessions, or by the extent of our fame, but rather by the quality of our presence in the world, by the depth of our human connections, by the authenticity of our actions, and by the congruence between our values and our conduct. Perhaps you feel in some hidden corner of your soul an echo of this uncomfortable truth, that subtle and persistent discomfort that arises after a great victory, that inexplicable feeling that something essential is still missing, even when all apparently important goals have been achieved and all boxes have been checked with a showy, completed sign. It is the silent and piercing anguish of someone who has passionately dedicated themselves to climbing the wrong mountain, of someone who has invested years of effort and sacrifice to reach a summit that does not belong to them, or of someone who finally reaches the desired peak and, with a mixture of perplexity and disillusionment, realizes that the person who carried out the arduous climb no longer recognizes themselves in the mirror, or worse, has never truly known themselves in their deepest essence. It is the lacerating conflict between the fleeting and superficial validation that the external world applauds and the non-negotiable integrity that your intimate and perceptive conscience demands. You see yourself, often without realizing it, diligently pursuing what you believe you should want, driven by external expectations and pre-established social standards, while a silent yet insistent voice within you yearns for something more authentic, more meaningful, more aligned with your most genuine essence, with your deepest values, and with your unique and non-transferable life purpose. And it is precisely at this crucial point that resides the transformative conceptual shift, the master key that Earl Nightingale and other enlightened sages have bequeathed to us through the centuries. The external objective, the tangible goal that we aim to achieve, is to a large extent just a powerful and effective catalyst for internal transformation, for the development of our innate potential, for the expansion of our consciousness. The true prize, the most valuable and lasting reward, is not the shiny gold medal, the framed diploma, the desired promotion, or the inflated bank balance. The true prize is the extraordinary person you become along the journey, when facing the seemingly insurmountable challenges, when overcoming paralyzing fears, when cultivating with discipline and perseverance the essential virtues: unwavering, resilience, genuine compassion, deep wisdom, necessary to tread the arduous and winding path towards the achievement of your highest goals. The what you achieve on the material plane is ultimately secondary and ephemeral compared to the who you become in the transformative process of the journey. Difficulty, obstacles, setbacks are not merely impediments to be overcome with resignation and suffering, but rather the very skillful and relentless chisel that sculpts with precision and mastery your best version, the most authentic and full expression of your human potential. The proposal, therefore, is not to abandon healthy ambition, to renounce your most cherished dreams, or to settle for a mediocre and purposeless existence. On the contrary, true wisdom lies in infusing this naturally human search for fulfillment with a new intention, with a deeper and more comprehensive perspective. The authentic and transformative choice is to pursue your goals with passion and determination, not despite the inevitable challenges and obstacles, but precisely because of them, embracing difficulties as valuable opportunities for growth and learning. Faced with each goal you set for yourself, question yourself with honesty and courage. Beyond the tangible result I seek to achieve in the external world, who do I need to become in my inner world to get there? What essential virtues do I need to cultivate and strengthen in my character? What limiting fears do I need to face head-on and transcend? What dark aspects of my personal shadow do I need to integrate and resignify to become a more complete and integral human being? Shift the focus of your attention from the final score, from the immediate and ephemeral result, to the quality of your inner game, to the mastery of your emotions, to the clarity of your thoughts, to the nobility of your intentions. Celebrate with gratitude and joy not only the triumphant arrival at the final destination, but each courageous step taken along the journey, the dignity demonstrated in the face of the inevitable fall, the deep wisdom extracted from each painful learning. The consequences of this profound change of perspective are truly transformative and liberating. The paralyzing pressure of the external world decreases considerably, gradually replaced by a more robust, authentic, and sustainable intrinsic motivation, which emanates from within, driven by your most genuine values and purposes. The castrating fear of failure loses its paralyzing and limiting power because each attempt, whether it is apparently successful or not in the eyes of the world, transforms into a valuable opportunity for learning, for expansion of consciousness, and for personal growth. Happiness ceases to be a distant and uncertain destination, postponed indefinitely to a hypothetical future, and begins to be experienced as a natural and spontaneous consequence of living with purpose, integrity, and authenticity aligned with your deepest values and with your most genuine essence. You discover then a form of success that no one, under any circumstance, will ever be able to take away from you. The unwavering strength of your character, the depth of your self-awareness, the invaluable richness of your internal qualities, the serene peace that emanates from an integral heart. External achievements, when they finally arrive, are received with gratitude and joy as welcome bonuses, but never define your intrinsic value as a human being. Never determine your self-esteem or your happiness. True wealth, the most valuable and lasting fortune, resides in the deep and unshakable peace that you find within yourself, in the serenity of knowing who you really are in your deepest essence, and in the silent and powerful strength that lies dormant in your core, waiting to be awakened and manifested in its fullness. So, I leave you with this essential and transformative reflection. At the end of your earthly journey, when you finally look back and contemplate the totality of your existence, what will have really weighed on the scales of your life? The impressive and extensive list of things you have accumulated, possessions you have flaunted, and achievements you have boasted, or the silent strength, the deep wisdom, and the unwavering integrity of the extraordinary person you have become along the way, through your choices, your challenges, and your learnings. If this conversation touched you in any way, if these words found resonance in your soul, share your impressions and reflections in the comments below. Your unique and valuable perspective deeply enriches this community of truth seekers. And to continue together exploring the unfathomable depths of your unlimited potential and building, brick by brick, a life with ever more meaning, purpose, and authenticity, subscribe now to the channel. The fascinating and transformative journey to become who you really are in your purest and most genuine essence is just beginning.